Then there's Tommy. Shanti and Tommy don't see the world the same way. Ami is chaos wrapped in charm, while Shanti is strategy wrapped in ice. But even Shanti can't ignore that Tommy is rising fast. He moves differently, with a confidence that doesn't need permission. If Shanti leaves Jennard, she doesn't have to become Tommy's partner, but she might become his equal or, at the very least, a temporary ally when it benefits her. Tommy respects power. He respects leaders who don't flinch, and if Shanti takes her own throne, Tommy would see her as someone worth negotiating with instead of someone stuck. Babysitting a sinking ship. Walking away from Jennard also means something deeply personal to Shanti: peace. She wouldn't have to constantly watch over her shoulder, wondering if his next breakdown puts them both in danger. She wouldn't have to pretend everything is under control when it clearly isn't. She could focus on herself, her future, and her rise. For someone as disciplined as Shanti, peace isn't softness, it's strength. It gives her space to think, plan, and dominate without being dragged into someone else's self-destruction. But the most important advantage Shanti gains is freedom from being tied to someone who's holding her back. Freedom to expand without worrying about loyalty to a man who isn't loyal to himself. And freedom to build an empire that reflects her own vision. And the truth is, Shanti's vision is bigger than Jennard ever imagined. She's not a side character in someone else's rise. She's the kind of woman who becomes the center of her own story. There is a storm coming in Chicago. Power is shifting. Leaders are falling. Alliances are breaking. And in the middle of this chaos, Shanti sees her chance to rise, not quietly, not in someone's shadow, but boldly, on her own. If she chooses to walk away, she doesn't just gain power. She becomes the power. A force strong enough to change the direction of Season 3 entirely. If Shanti finally makes the choice to cut ties with Jennard, the fallout won't be quiet. It won't be simple. And it definitely won't be something the rest of Chicago can ignore. Her decision has the power to shake the entire foundation of CBI, shift alliances across the city, and spark a brand new war that could define Season 3. The streets may be used to betrayal, but a betrayal coming from someone as strategic and silent as Shanti, that hits different. Because when Shanti moves, she doesn't miss. And if she turns on Jennard, it won't be out of anger, it will be out of survival, focus, and pure ambition. The first shockwave would hit Jennard himself. He's always believed he could control the people around him with force or fear. But Shanti isn't someone who breaks under pressure. She's someone who disappears from beside you and reappears across the table with a better offer. If Shanti leaves, Jennard loses more than a partner. He loses the person who kept him balanced, who cleaned his messes, who shielded him from complete collapse. Without her, he becomes exposed. Suddenly every enemy he ever made has a clear shot at him. And worst of all, he knows deep inside that Shanti leaving isn't betrayal, it's the final proof that he has failed as a leader. But while Jennard is falling apart, Shanti is rising. Her departure wouldn't just free her, it would attract attention from every major player in the city. People who were once hesitant to deal with CBI because of Jennard's instability would feel a sense of relief. Shanti brings calm, structure, and intelligence. She makes the kind of decisions that expand territory instead of shrinking it. Season 3 could show her building a network of her own, choosing who she works with not out of loyalty, but out of strategy. And that would put pressure on everyone from street crews. Two big suppliers to pick a side. Diamond would feel the impact immediately. He knows Shanti's value. He knows her mind is sharp and her ambition is real. Her leaving Jennard could put Diamond in a tough spot. Does he try to recruit her? Or stay neutral and avoid turning the brothers' rivalry into a full-scale civil war? Diamond is smart, but he's also protective of his position. Shanti joining him could make him stronger, but it could also make him cautious. Because Shanti isn't someone you keep under you, she's someone who eventually stands beside you, or above you. And then there's Tommy. Tommy doesn't follow rules. He doesn't wait his turn. If Shanti steps away from CBI, Tommy will be watching closely. He respects people who move with purpose, and Shanti is exactly that kind of player. She might not trust Tommy, and she shouldn't, but she could use him. Their goals might cross in dangerous ways, or they could temporarily align if their enemies overlap. A Shanti-Tommy alliance, even a short one, would create some of the tensest, most explosive storylines the show could offer. Both are unpredictable but for completely different reasons. And that contrast could drive the plot forward. The fallout would also reach the streets. Soldiers in CBI would be forced to choose sides. Some would follow Jennard out of fear or loyalty. Others, tired of his chaos, would quietly shift toward Shanti. Her leadership style, calm but commanding, would attract those who want stability, safety, and a future. The city could divide into two camps. one built on Jennard's desperation, and the other built on Shanti's vision. And when two sides form in Chicago, it usually ends in blood. But the biggest impact falls on Shanti herself. Turning on Jennard isn't just about survival, it's about identity. It's about choosing who she wants to be in this world. If she steps into her own power, she becomes a queenpin in her own right. Someone the entire power universe has to pay attention to. But that path comes with risks. Every alliance she forms creates new enemies. Every territory she takes invites backlash. And every move she makes places her deeper in a game where one wrong decision could end everything she's built. Still, Shanti isn't afraid of risk. She's afraid of wasting her potential. She knows she's standing in the middle of a battlefield. On one side is loyalty, on the other is opportunity. And Season 3 is shaping up to show whether she chooses to protect a sinking ship or build her own empire from the ground up. If Shanti turns on Jennard, she doesn't just change her future, she changes the future of the entire show. And the audience will be sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who rises, who falls, and who survives the storm she's about to unleash. If Shanti chooses to stay loyal to Jennard, the story takes a very different turn, one filled with tension, sacrifice, and a kind of loyalty that may cost her more than she's prepared to lose. Loyalty sounds noble, but in the world of force, loyalty is dangerous. It ties you to someone else's fate, someone else's mistakes, and someone else's downfall. And Shanti, a woman who's built her identity on strength and discipline, would find herself trapped between her heart and her survival. Staying loyal doesn't mean staying weak, but it does mean facing the truth that Jennard's storm could eventually swallow her whole. If Shanti stands by Jennard, the first thing she faces is responsibility, an enormous, exhausting weight she never asked for. Jennard's addiction would become her daily battle. She would have to deal with the unpredictable mood swings, the risky decisions, and the constant fear that one wrong move could get them both killed. She has already seen what his chaos does to CBI, but staying loyal means continuing to put out fires that he starts without even noticing the match in his hand. Loyalty would demand patience, and patience would demand strength. Shanti has both, but even she has limits beyond Jennard's personal struggles. Shanti would have to face the growing doubt from the streets. People are already questioning Jennard's leadership. Partners feel nervous. Rivals see weakness. Some soldiers are whispering about jumping ship. If Shanti stays, she becomes part of that perception. She becomes tied to a sinking reputation. Even if she holds herself together, people will wonder why someone as smart as her is choosing to stay under someone who's rapidly losing control. That doubt could follow her everywhere she goes, turning allies into skeptics and opportunities into closed doors. But Shanti's loyalty could also reshape her role. Instead of being seen as Jennard's equal, she might be viewed as the quiet leader keeping him alive. People who once doubted her might realize she's the real backbone behind CBI's survival. Ironically, staying loyal could make her more powerful, because everyone would know she's the reason CBI hasn't collapsed. Her influence could grow not because Jennard allows it, but because he needs it. Every time she steps in, every crisis she handles, and every mistake she fixes adds to her reputation as the true steady force inside CBI. Jennard, however, may not handle that shift well. The more Shanti supports him, the more his pride may feel attacked. He wants to be the boss. He wants control. But if the streets start respecting Shanti more than him, it will create tension between them, a silent war that neither wants to admit. Jennard's insecurity could grow. His temper could rise. And Shanti might find herself walking a tight line between supporting him and not overshadowing him. Staying loyal could keep them together in name, but emotionally, it might push them further apart. Still, Shanti isn't someone who gives up easily. If she stays loyal, it's because she believes she can guide Jennard back into the right direction. She would put effort into improving his focus, rebuilding CBI's reputation, and reinforcing the structure that Jennard has weakened. She would try to bring discipline back into the crew, reconnect lost relationships, and turn their partnership into something people can trust again. She would work tirelessly because loyalty to Shanti is standing on the edge of the biggest decision of her life. One wrong move could turn Chicago against her, and one bold move could make her the most powerful player the city has ever seen. But with Jennard dragging CBI deeper into chaos, the real question is simple. Is Shanti preparing to save him, or preparing to leave him behind forever? Shanti's Showstopper has always been the kind of person who walks into a room and makes everyone else feel small. She doesn't need to yell, threaten, or act wild. Her power comes from confidence, strategy, and the way she reads people like open books. In the world of Power Book 4, Force, that matters even more than muscle or bullets. But as Season 2 ends, we see something shifting inside her. She's still in control, but she's watching Jennard slip further away from it. And that gap between them is quietly becoming the biggest danger in her life. Shanti didn't enter CBI blind. She knew the risks, the enemies, and the blood that comes with the territory. But she also saw opportunity. Jennard had ambition, territory, and a serious desire to prove himself. Shanti had the brains, the discipline, and a hunger for real power. Together, they could have been unstoppable. At least, that's how it looked at first. But as Jennard spiraled deeper into addiction, his choices became more reckless. Instead of building something solid, he started damaging it piece by piece. And Shanti, someone who plans 10 steps ahead, has been forced to clean up mess after mess. This is the part where she starts to question everything. Not out loud, not in a dramatic argument, but in small moments. When Jennard snaps at her for no reason, when he shows up late, when he makes deals without thinking through the consequences. Every time he slips, Shanti's eyes shift, just slightly calculating, observing, quietly preparing. She knows a sinking ship when she sees one, and she's not the type to let herself go down with it. Still, there is more to their situation than simple frustration. Shanti understands how the streets work. She knows loyalty has power, stability has value, and building an empire requires time. But what happens when the person you're building with can't stay focused long enough to hold the bricks in place? What happens when your partner begins to feel more like your burden? The more Jennard loses control, the more Shanti is forced to take charge. And the more she steps up, the more she realizes something she didn't want to admit. She doesn't actually need him. That realization is dangerous. It opens doors in her mind she used to keep locked. It makes her imagine what Chicago would look like if she was at the top, not standing beside Jennard. Not supporting him, but leading on her own terms. Every decision Jennard makes pushes her a little closer to that possibility. And every risk he takes becomes another reason for her to question whether sticking by his side is worth it. Right now, Shanti is in a place where she's watching everything. She's quiet, patient, and alert. She hasn't made her move yet, but she's already thinking 3 steps ahead of everyone else. She sees Tommy growing stronger. She sees Diamond holding steady. She sees cracks forming inside CBI, and she knows that once those cracks widen, someone will have to step in and take control. The question is whether Shanti is preparing to save Jennard from himself, or preparing to step into the power he keeps dropping. And in that silence, those moments where she says nothing, her future becomes more unpredictable than ever. Shanti has always trusted her instincts more than anything else. In Chicago's street game, instincts keep you alive, and hers are sharper than most. But lately, those instincts have been whispering something she can't ignore. Jennard is becoming a danger to himself, and to anyone standing too close to him. This shift didn't happen overnight. It came in small moments, steady cracks, and choices that revealed the truth. Jennard isn't the same man she originally believed she could build an empire with. And every sign points toward a future where Shanti may have no choice but to walk away, or worse, take him down to protect what she's building. One of the biggest warning signs is Jennard's addiction. At first, Shanti thought he would get through it, maybe even fight it the way soldiers in this world must battle every weakness. But instead of improving, he sunk deeper. He became careless. He started making decisions based on impulse instead of strategy. Shanti watched him rush into deals without checking the details, argue with people he should have negotiated with, and lash out at allies he needed on his side. The streets respect strength, but they fear unpredictability. And Jennard, once ambitious and focused, has become unpredictable in ways that could destroy everything. Shanti feels that pressure every time she steps into a room with him. When he's unfocused, she's the one who has to take control. When he's tense, she's the one who smooths things over. And when he's short-tempered, she's the one who has to keep the peace. Slowly, the partnership has shifted. What used to be teamwork has turned into Shanti carrying the weight of both their positions. She didn't sign up to be Jennard's babysitter. She came in expecting to grow, to dominate, and to protect her future, but not to protect a man who can't protect himself. Another warning sign is the way Jennard reacts to her strength. The more Shanti steps up, the more he feels threatened. He doesn't say it outright, but his actions reveal it. He gets irritated when she questions him, even when she's saving him from a bad move. He gets defensive when she tries to guide him, even when his choices could cost them everything. Shanti sees the insecurity behind his eyes, the fear that she might be taking the spotlight from him. But she isn't trying to replace him. She's trying to survive and keep them both from getting crushed under the weight of his chaos. And then there's the silent shift in how others look at her. People notice Shanti's presence. They see her leadership. They see the calm confidence she carries. In a world full of loud threats and empty promises, she stands out. Street soldiers, business partners, and even enemies watch her more closely now. Some respect her, some fear her, some even whisper that she might be the real leader behind Jennard's name. These whispers reach Shanti's ears, and she pretends they don't matter. But deep down, she knows the truth. Respect like that doesn't come from standing in someone else's shadow. It comes from stepping into your own power. Shanti's biggest warning sign of all is what she doesn't see from Jennard. He's not learning. He's not adjusting. He's not stepping up. And in a world where everyone is fighting to climb higher, standing still is the same as falling. Shanti has always been a survivor. She doesn't wait for a disaster to take her out. She moves before the storm hits, so now she's facing a quiet but dangerous crossroads. Every mistake Jennard makes pushes her further from loyalty and closer to self-preservation. Every outburst, every sloppy decision, every moment he makes her clean up after him becomes another mark on the list of reasons she might eventually turn on him. Shanti doesn't want betrayal. She doesn't enjoy conflict for the sake of chaos. But she's not blind, and she's not weak. If Jennard becomes the anchor pulling her under, she cut the rope before she drowns with him. And whether she admits it or not, she's already imagining what life looks like without him holding her back. Shanti has always known. She was meant for more than just being someone's partner in the game. Deep inside, she carries a quiet fire belief that she could run things on her own if she wanted to. She's never needed to brag about it or show off. Her strength has always lived in silence, in strategy, in the way she studies every move before she makes her own. But with Jennard slipping further into chaos, that quiet fire is beginning to burn brighter. For the first time, Shanti is seeing a future where she isn't just reacting to someone else's mistakes, but shaping Chicago on her own terms. If Shanti decides to break away, she immediately gains something she hasn't had in a long time: control. Full control. No more covering for Jennard. No more fixing his messes. No more whispering warnings he ignores. She could run her business with the precision she's known for. Every decision she makes would come from a place of power, not damage control. And in a city like Chicago, that kind of control could transform her from a respected partner into a feared and admired leader. There's also the matter of alliances. Right now, some people hesitate to deal with Shanti because she is tied to Jennard. His unpredictability scares them. His spiraling reputation drags down hers. But Shanti on her own, that's a different story. The streets talk, and the streets have already taken notice of her strength. If she steps out on her own, those same people who doubted her might start lining up to partner with her. They know Shanti brings order, brains, and stability, qualities that are rare in a world where leaders often explode under pressure. Diamond is one of the biggest potential factors in this shift. He's smart, calculated, and he's been trying to separate his empire from Jennard's impulsive choices. Diamond respects people who think before they strike, and Shanti fits that description perfectly. She doesn't need to join Diamond, but if she wanted to, she could. And the combination of Diamond's discipline and Shanti's strategy could reshape the power structure of the city. It wouldn't take long for people to notice that together, they are something Jennard could never match.